Hello and welcome to Breakfast News on Rajya TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Well, a big shocker ahead of Festival of Diwali. Pakistani terrorists have killed and mutilated an Indian soldier's body in a cross-LOC attack. Now, Army has vowed appropriate response. That is the big story this morning. Let us take a look at the other headlines. Terrorists aided by Pak Army cover, fire, kill Army Jawan and mutilate his body in Himachal in Kupwara. One attacker killed in a response from the Indian Army. China warns of strain in bilateral ties if Tibetan spiritual leader the Dalai Lama visits Arunachal Pradesh. India says he has visited the state in the past as well. Supreme Court warns entire judiciary will come to a grinding halt if the centre delays judges' appointments. Points out many rooms in Karnataka High Court are locked because there are no judges. Trouble for Hillary Clinton days ahead of presidential polls. The FBI reopens probe into her use of private email server. Trump welcomes move. Clinton confident it won't change the initial conclusion. And the series decider fifth and final ODI between India and New Zealand to be played at Visakhapatnam today. Cyclone threat could spoil sport. Well, amid increasing tension between India and Pakistan, a terrorist killed and mutilated an Indian soldier in a gun battle late on Friday night along the line of control. Now, the BSF said that Indian forces killed 15 Pakistani Rangers in retaliatory fire. And in the last 12 hours, there have been 6 ceasefire violations by Pakistan. Meanwhile, BSF Jawan Nitish Subhash was killed in ceasefire violation by Pak troops in Himachal sector along the line of control. Here is more. In a barbaric incident, Pakistan Army-backed terrorists mutilated the body of a soldier who was killed in North Kashmir's Kupwara district during a gunfight on Friday. According to Army spokesperson, a militant was also killed in the attack, which occurred under 53 Infantry Brigade. Earlier on Friday, the Border Security Force said that it had killed 15 Pakistani Rangers in retaliatory fire in the past week since the escalation of the situation at the border. Meanwhile, 2 civilians were killed and 2 others injured in the firing by Pakistani troops in the Jammu region. Heavy exchange of firing also continued along the border districts of Kathua, Poonch and Rajouri districts. Areas near the border have been on high alert because of a spurt in fighting from Pakistan in the past few days.
They will continue to fire as they have been doing. They will be getting the befitting reply from the BSF and the Indian side also. तो हमने आंखों से देखा है, हमारे लोगों ने बाय आंखों से या किसी इंस्ट्रूमेंट से देखा है और हमें लगता है कि वो कम से कम जो है वो स्नाइपिंग के बाद वाले फिगर वो कंटिन्यू कर लें तो करीब 15 के आसपास है।
का फायर हो रहा है, लगातार फायर हो रहा है, बिल्कुल घरों के नजदीक सबके हो रहा है और स्कूल के पास नजदीक हो रहा है।
शालिनी सर, ये तो पहली बार ऐसी देखी है, तो बहुत मुश्किल है सर। गवर्नमेंट को थोड़ा सोचना चाहिए ये बॉर्डर एरिया के लिए।
अचानक गोला आ गया तो मैं तो रो के पागल हो गई, तो अचानक अंदर आ गई, तो फिर अंदर आई तो चाय नहीं, सुबह की चाय नहीं पी हमने, तो डर के मारे एक जगह ही छुप के बैठे हुए हैं।
Home Minister Rajnath Singh targeted Pakistan, accusing it of indulging in a proxy war against India. Pakistan summoned Indian Deputy High Commissioner for the 3rd time in a week to lodge a strong protest over what it called was unprovoked firing.
प्रॉक्सी वार भारत के साथ लड़ने की पाकिस्तान कोशिश कर रहा है, उसे इस हकीकत को भी समझना चाहिए। प्रॉक्सी वार कभी भी बहादुर लोग नहीं लड़ा करते, बराबर ये कमजोर लोग ही लड़ते हैं। कमजोर लोगों का हथियार आतंकवाद है।
In the wake of escalating tensions, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti said war was not a solution and Pakistan should take an initiative to resolve all disputes.
पर जंग, जदल, क्रॉसफायर, वायलेशन ये रहने वाली चीज नहीं है। अल्टीमेटली हमें एक दूसरे के साथ रहना सीखना पड़ेगा, रहना है। ये गोलाबारी खत्म होनी चाहिए। लोग दरबदर हो रहे हैं, जम्मू में जख्मी हो रहे हैं, मारे जा रहे हैं हमारे वहाँ फोर्सेस के लोग। मैं समझती हूँ जंग किसी मसले का हल नहीं है। अल्टीमेटली हमें आपस में दोस्ती कर लेनी चाहिए।
On Friday, police in Kashmir's Kulgam district arrested a militant belonging to Hizbul Mujahideen and recovered arms and ammunition. In a separate operation, 4 militants and a policeman were arrested during a raid at a private house in Srinagar's Bemina area. Bureau Report, Rajya TV. Well, after busting a Pakistani espionage ring, the Delhi police arrested a third spy from Jodhpur, while the police claimed that he was in touch with the expelled Pakistan High Commission staffer for the last 3 to 4 years and had visited the neighbouring country 6 times. Now, the arrested man worked as a visa agent and reportedly hired the other 2 spies as well, who were subsequently arrested on Thursday.
One more Indian, allegedly spying for Pakistan, was arrested by the Rajasthan police on Friday. He was handed over to the Delhi police that busted a major espionage ring run by an official of the Pakistani High Commission in India. Identified as Shoaib, the arrested spy worked as a visa agent in Jodhpur. He was reportedly tasked to collect information about Indian troop deployment in the border areas.
इसको भी टास्किंग की हुई थी कि आर्मी के, बीएसएफ के डिप्लॉयमेंट, ट्रूप्स की मूवमेंट, वो सारी चीज़ें इससे मंगा रहे थे और उसी सिलसिले में इनका काफ़ी बड़ा एक नेटवर्क बन गया था। मौलाना रमज़ान खान जो कल परसों गिरफ्तार हुआ था, उससे भी इसके अच्छे संबंध थे, सुभाष जहांगीर से भी अच्छे संबंध थे।
Shoaib visited Pakistan at least 6 times in the last few years. He was allegedly in constant touch with Pakistani diplomat Mahmood Akhtar, who was declared persona non grata by India on Thursday and would have to leave the country by Saturday.
कम से कम आधा दर्जन बार पाकिस्तान जा चुका है। इसकी जो अम्मी जान है और जो मामा वगैरह हैं, ननिहाल है, वो पाकिस्तान में ही है।
In retaliation to its official being asked to leave India, Pakistan also expelled Indian diplomat Surjit Singh.
The Foreign Secretary summoned the Indian High Commissioner, Mr. Gautam Bambewala, on 27th October, that is yesterday, and conveyed the decision of the government of Pakistan to declare Mr. Surjit Singh, an official of the Indian High Commission, as persona non grata. Mr. Surjit Singh, the Foreign Secretary expressed deep concern over the activities of the Indian official that I named that were in violation of the Vienna Convention and the established diplomatic norms. The Indian High Commission has been asked to make urgent necessary arrangements for Surjit Singh and his family to leave Pakistan by 29th October.
India condemned Pakistan's decision, saying the action further confirms that the country continues to be in denial of its anti-India activities.
No justification has been provided by the government of Pakistan except for the completely baseless and unsubstantiated allegation that his activities were not in keeping with diplomatic norms. The government condemns Pakistan's step. It is obvious that the step is an afterthought following yesterday's apprehension of Pakistan High Commission staffer Mahmood Akhtar in Delhi while indulging in anti-India activities.
News reports suggest Pakistani spy Mahmood Akhtar was trying to gather classified information on deployment of Indian security forces along the western coast, possibly to carry out a strike similar to the 2008 Mumbai terror attack. The 2 Indian spies arrested on Thursday allegedly supplied information to Akhtar about deployment in the Sir Creek area and the Kutch region. Akhtar has reportedly confessed to the police about his role in the spy ring. The Delhi police is believed to have also done a video recording of his statement in which he named several officers of the Pakistani High Commission.
More expulsions and counter-expulsions may take place in coming future because in India, investigations are going on how many other people from Pakistan High Commission are involved in such espionage activities. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Television with camera person DK Pandey in Delhi.
And the Supreme Court has been informed that India ranks 3rd among world nations most inflicted with terrorism and insurgency-related deaths. Now, the submission made by the Chhattisgarh government said that India ranks 3rd after the areas ridden with violence by Islamic State and Nigeria's Boko Haram. Well, the state government also said that more people were being killed in this Naxal-affected state than terror-hit Jammu and Kashmir, and the involvement of extreme left-wing activists in the area was adding fuel to fire. Now, the state government also urged the top court to pass some directions for keeping social activists out of the area, alleging that they would just want to keep the flame burning. And on to the other top story. Well, China on Friday warned India that bilateral ties may suffer if it allows Tibetan spiritual leader the Dalai Lama to visit Arunachal Pradesh. Now, reports state that India has granted permission to the Dalai Lama to visit Arunachal Pradesh at the Chief Minister's invitation. Now, China considers Arunachal Pradesh as a part of southern Tibet and routinely objects to visit by the Dalai Lama there. Well, the border dispute covers the 4,488-kilometer long line of actual control. Now asked about assertions by External Affairs spokesperson Vikas Swarup that the Dalai Lama has visited the state in the past as well, China said that making one mistake does not mean that you can make another.
中方坚决反对达赖到中印领土争议地区活动。我们要求印度方面恪守在涉藏问题上对中方的承诺，做出的是一个政治承诺，遵守双方在边界问题上的重要共识，不要采取使边界问题进一步复杂化的行动，不要给第14世达赖集团反华分裂活动提供舞台。那么这样呢，才能够维护中印关系的健康稳定发展。
Well, on to some other news. The Supreme Court expressed anguish over the delay in appointment and transfer of judges in High Court despite recommendations made by the Collegium. Now, it warned the centre for the delay and held it responsible for what it called trying to bring the institution to a grinding halt.
The Supreme Court on Friday warned the central government that the delay in judges' appointments will bring the entire judiciary to a grinding halt. A bench headed by Chief Justice T.S. Thakur said, and I quote, "The court's rooms are locked down. Do you want to lock down the judiciary? You cannot bring the entire institution to a grinding halt," unquote.
I personally think that the anguish of the Chief Justice that he has been expressing over the last 6 months has had no effect on the government. The government thinks the judiciary is irrelevant. The judiciary is not required for the country, and this is shocking. I am myself amazed at the attitude of the government towards the judiciary.
The Supreme Court also said the appointment process can't be stalled due to non-finalization of the Memorandum of Procedure. However, representing the centre, Attorney General Mukul Rohtagi said more progress will be seen on the MOP in the near future.
Certainly it will take some time because we have to deliberate with the state governments, we have to deliberate with the other constitutional authorities and all that. So I said, I went to the Chief Justice with a letter stating that, sir, the new memorandum procedure will take some time. So we will have a selection of judges till the new memorandum procedure is finalized on the basis of the present memorandum procedure which exists. So we went on. Is it not a magnanimity of the central government?
Shedding light on the current state of affairs, the court said several courtrooms in the Karnataka High Court are locked because there are no judges. The Apex Court also warned the centre that it may summon secretaries of the PMO and the Ministry of Law and Justice to ascertain the factual position. The court will meet again on 11th November for a further hearing. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And the Central Information Commission, or the CIC, has sought files relating to foreign travels of Prime Minister from the External Affairs Ministry. Now, the ministry had earlier refused an RTI applicant access to these documents, citing security concerns. Now, Chief Information Commissioner Radhakrishna Mathur directed the MEA to examine the files to ascertain whether there was indeed any security concerns. Now, Commodore retired Lokesh Batra, who filed the RTI, stated before the Commission that the case involves a substantive public interest, as the bailout amount reported to be in thousands of crores of rupees being given to Air India is the money of taxpayers. He said that there is a need for reforms by understanding the causes of long delays in payments to Air India. More news from across the country in Nationwide. The centre on Friday gave a second extension of 1 year to senior IPS officer Sharat Kumar by re-employing him as Director General of the Anti-Terror Probe Agency, NIA. The Appointments Committee of Cabinet approved the proposal for a reappointment of Sharat Kumar, claiming that his continuance will help with the investigations into the important terror cases with the NIA. Now, this is the second extension for Kumar. The Supreme Court on Friday refused to stay the Allahabad High Court's order on the D&D flyway and said that no toll will be collected till further orders. Now, the Apex Court also said that it will get the profit account of D&D toll company audited either by the CAG or by an independent auditor to find out whether the profit recovered was adequate. The Supreme Court will hear the matter again on 7th of November. Till then, there will be no toll collection on the expressway. At least 8 people were killed and several others injured after a fire broke out in a fireworks shop in Gujarat's Vadodara district on Friday. Meanwhile, police and fire officials were deployed in large numbers at the spot to carry out relief work. The cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained. The Southern Bench of the National Green Tribunal on Friday restrained the Bengaluru Development Authority from proceeding with the steel flyover project for 4 weeks. Now, granting an interim stay on the flyover proposal that kicked up controversies, the NGT directed Bengaluru Development Authority not to carry on with the 1,761 crore rupees 6-lane flyover project work and posted the matter to 25th of November for further hearing. And bird flu scare continues in the national capital. Well, 3 fresh avian deaths were reported in Delhi on Friday, and it has prompted the authorities to shut yet another DDA park in West Delhi. Now, lab reports confirm the influenza has not affected the poultry at the Ghazipur Mandi, though. Well, 2 ducks were found dead at Paschim Vihar Park of West Delhi and another at Shakti Sthal, which continues to remain closed. Now, Animal Husbandry Department Minister Gopal Rai reviewed the situation at a meeting of the Coordination Committee and has directed the agencies concerned to execute the relevant action plan to contain the flu. No bird deaths were reported from the National Zoological Park, Deer Park and Gwalior Zoo in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, the centre reviewed the overall situation of avian influenza H5N8 in the country and said that the situation is under control and there is no need to panic as the state governments are taking steps to prevent the spread of the disease.
पश्चिम बिहार में डीडीए का जो सेंट्रल पार्क है वहाँ पर 2 पक्षियों की मौत हुई है और एक अभी जो शक्ति स्थल है वहाँ पर भी मौत हुई है। तो अभी आज हमने कोऑर्डिनेशन कमेटी की रिव्यू मीटिंग बुलाई थी और उसमें जो ये सिम्टम दिख रहे हैं वो इस बात की पुष्टि कर रहे हैं कि अभी और सतर्कता बरतने की जरूरत है। और आज निर्णय यही हुआ है कि सारे जितने डिपार्टमेंट हैं जिनके अंदर वाटर बॉडी जाती हैं उनको आज दोबारा मैंडेटरी जो है एक्शन प्लान उनको दिया गया है। उसका परिणाम ये है कि वो अभी नियंत्रण में है, लेकिन फिर भी जगह जगह सिम्टम मिल रहे हैं, इसलिए सावधानी के साथ इस पर और लगातार मॉनिटरिंग करने की जरूरत है। इसको अभी जिसको आज हमने निर्णय लिया है।
Well, time to take a very short break. Up next, we have all the international and sports news. Stay tuned.
I'm here in this institute now almost 29 years. I grew along with this institute. We are doing, world-class research. You can compare our institute with any national institutions and international institutions. We are one of the top among all the R&D institutions in the country and CSR institutions also.
Watch Eureka with Dr. A. Ajay Ghosh, Director, CSIR NEAST, Thiruvananthapuram, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back onto the big international story. Well, trouble for Hillary Clinton just days ahead of the US presidential polls. Now, the FBI is not through investigating her private email server. Despite clearing her of criminal charges earlier, the agency has now come across some new emails in an unrelated case. Now, while the Democratic nominee herself called on the FBI to reveal full details of whatever they are investigating, rival Donald Trump lashed onto the opportunity to again target Hillary Clinton over the email controversy.
So we don't know the facts, which is why we are calling on the FBI to release all the information that it has. Even Director Comey noted that this new information may not be significant, so let's get it out.
Hillary Clinton calling on the FBI to release full facts about its review of emails related to her personal server. demanding FBI to explain the new inquiry to the American people. This came after Director James Comey revealed that the FBI was looking into newly found messages and reviewing new emails tied to Hillary's server.
At the point here where we're trying to figure out what these emails even pertain to, whether they're relevant to her time as Secretary of State. Can't make any assumptions at this point that they are, but they may be. As much as they are, we'll certainly seek to work with the FBI if they ask us to.
The latest emails came to light during a separate inquiry into top Clinton aide Huma Abedin's estranged husband, former Congressman Anthony Weiner. The FBI is now looking at whether any of the newly discovered emails will have an impact on the investigation into Clinton's server that was closed earlier this year. The FBI has already spent about a year investigating Clinton's use of an unauthorized private email server for her work as the U.S. Secretary of State between 2009 and 2013. Despite lashing Clinton's email practices as extremely careless, FBI director had not recommended prosecution.
Although we did not find clear evidence that Secretary Clinton or her colleagues intended to violate laws governing the handling of classified information, there is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information.
While Clinton says she was confident that the new emails will not change the conclusion reached in July of not prosecuting her, the Democratic nominee's campaign was shaken by the developments, coming just 11 days before the election. The news also united Republicans, with nominee Donald Trump and other prominent Republicans such as Speaker Paul Ryan jumping on the opportunity to blast Clinton.
Hillary Clinton's corruption is on a scale we have never seen before. We must not let her take her criminal scheme into the Oval Office.
Hillary Clinton has an advantage over Trump in the presidential race, with polls showing that she is leading by 6 points. The question is now whether the return of the email storm, which has overshadowed her entire campaign, will have an impact on the remaining undecided voters. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Well, news from the Middle East. In Iraq, Islamic State terrorists abducted thousands of men, women and children from areas around Mosul to use them as human shields. While the United Nations Human Rights Group said the terrorists were pushing forward with their strategy of forcing people living nearby to Mosul as the coalition forces close in to retake the city. And the terrorist group also killed at least 232 people in and around Mosul last week, including 190 former Iraqi security forces and 40 civilians. Well, the offensive, launched on 17th of October, has seen tens of thousands of Iraqi fighters advancing from several fronts in a bid to retake the last major Iraqi city under Islamic State control. Well, the army, backed by the US coalition-led airstrikes, have killed nearly 900 terrorists, while the raging war has forced thousands of civilians to flee their homes from the besieged city.
ISIL's depraved, cowardly strategy is to attempt to use the presence of civilian hostages to render certain points, areas, or military forces immune from military operations, effectively using tens of thousands of women, men, and children as human shields. Many of those who refused to comply were shot on the spot.
On to some other international news. Well, Cuba, China, Egypt and Saudi Arabia were among 14 members elected on Friday by the United Nations General Assembly to the world body's Human Rights Council. But Russia failed to garner enough votes to win the re-election amid rights group campaign against its role in the war in Syria. Well, the 193-member General Assembly voted to elect Brazil, China, Croatia, Cuba, Egypt, Hungary, Iraq, Japan, Rwanda, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Tunisia, US and the UK to the Geneva-based UN Human Rights Council. The elected members will serve in the 47-member council for a 3-year term beginning 1st of January next year. Now, India is a member of the human rights body and its term will expire in 2017. China, Cuba, South Africa, Saudi Arabia and the UK were seeking re-election to the council as their terms were set to expire in December this year.
The following 14 states have thus been elected members of the Human Rights Council for a 3-year term of office beginning 1st January 2017. Brazil, China, Croatia, Cuba, Egypt, Hungary, Iraq, Japan, Rwanda, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Tunisia, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, the United States of America. I congratulate those states which have been elected members of the Human Rights Council, and I thank the tellers for their assistance in this election.
Let's get to some more international news in World Wrap. Canada and the European Union will sign a long-delayed landmark trade deal at a summit in Brussels on Sunday. A signing ceremony planned for Thursday had to be cancelled after a Belgian region vetoed the agreement. But after marathon talks, a consensus was finally reached, allowing all 28 EU states to formally approve the deal. The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau described it as a great news and said he looked forward to attending the signing summit. Opposition leaders in Venezuela staged a general strike to push for a referendum on removing President Nicolas Maduro from power. Many shops, businesses and schools stayed closed on Friday, but adherence to the strike was patchy. Now, Maduro, who had warned companies that they risked being seized if they joined the strike, said that it had failed. 7 passengers and a flight attendant were injured after an American Airlines plane caught fire on the runway of Chicago's airport while taking off. The Boeing 767 bound for Miami blew a tire and damaged an engine. The pilot aborted the takeoff and evacuated everyone on board. Now, there were 161 passengers and 9 crew members on board when the incident happened. Sports. So, well, on to some cricket news now, and the series deciding fifth in the final one-day match between India and New Zealand will be held in Visakhapatnam today. With the series locked at 2-all, Dhoni and his men will be eager to clinch the series, while history beckons Kane Williamson's men as they have a glorious opportunity to taste their maiden success in a bilateral ODI rubber. Well, the only thing that can spoil sport is the cyclone threat, which can lead to a complete washout. While Dhoni's captaincy may not be under immediate threat, but a series lost against New Zealand will certainly raise questions about Captain Cool's ability to marshal his resources after his much publicised admission of being unable to rotate strike lower down the order. Now, under Dhoni, India lost 3 ODI series, 1-2 against Bangladesh in Bangladesh, 1-4 against Australia down under, and 2-3 at home against South Africa. Well, the only ODI series victory in the last 18 months has been against a lowly Zimbabwe. Let's get to some more sporting action. Here is the sports beat. India will take on South Korea in the semi-finals of the 4th Asian Champions Trophy today. India are hopeful of producing a magic to surmount the challenge from resurgent South Korea despite ankle injury to ace custodian PR Shijesh. But the other worry for India is the deep defender Surendra Kumar's suspension. Now, seeking to reclaim the title that they won in the inaugural edition in 2011, fancied India were held to a 1-all draw by the South Korean side, which has improved with every outing. Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis entered the WTA semi-finals in Singapore with a straight win over Chinese Taipei pair Hao Cheng Chan and Yuang Zhang Chan. The number 2 seeded Indo-Swiss pair, who reunited for the tournament after parting ways in August, won 7-6, 7-5. British tennis player Andy Murray secured a spot in the Vienna Open semi-final with a comfortable straight sets 6-1, 6-3 win over American John Isner. Isner struggled with a hand blister against the top seed who now faces Spaniard David Ferrer, who beat Victor Troicki in a thrilling 3-set match. Also, 6th seed French player Jo-Wilfried Tsonga beat Albert Ramos Vinolas 6-2, 7-6 to set up a semi-final clash against Ivo Karlovic. And 3rd seed Kei Nishikori beat Argentine Juan Martin Del Potro in the quarterfinals of the Swiss Open tournament. Nishikori will face Giles Muller in the first single semi-finals on Saturday. Top seed Stan Wawrinka earlier crashed out of the tournament after losing to German Misha Zverev in 3 sets. Zverev will play 4th seed Marin Cilic in the semi-final after Cilic beat Marcel Granollers 6-3, 6-3. Well, that's all in this edition of news, but news and updates continue on Rajya Sabha TV. Wishing you all a very happy Choti Diwali. Thanks for watching.